Hi.
How are you?
Good. I couldn't sleep last night, so I've been up like doing laundry and stupid shit
Yeah.
all morning, and I looked down and it was 9:30 and I jumped on the call at like 9:31.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody was like, it was a short one today.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, the thing is, I'm doing some leadership stuff. Is my thing too dark? Do you think I'm too dark over here?
No.
Is that a little bit better? Like maybe. Yeah, so I'm doing some leadership stuff and they meet at 9:30, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna tell them, hey, I want to spend time with my crew,
I need my people.
Yeah, believe me, I go over there at 9:30 and I'm like, this is bogus. I want to be back with my people. So
Preach to us about your tribe.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be with my tribe, not those chronic complainers over there.
Oh, I have to believe leadership meetings are no fun.
No, your hair looks so cute.
Oh, this is my real hair. I straighten it all the time.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And then like people pay really good money to get hair like yours.
Yeah, and I've hated it from day one, but I washed it this morning and just quit on it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thanks.
I told everybody today I'm gonna hide everybody's pictures and
just talk out into that farewell.
Yeah. We've got some other people joining us here. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
So yeah, I think what I was going to do is just kind of talk to Joe directly, almost like it's a conversation between him and I kind of thing. And,
it's a good idea.
Yeah. Just to kind of like quell the nerves, make it seem more natural. But I appreciate you guys being on the Lunch and Learn today. So for support.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the thing. I think we have like 3 things scheduled at noon today. It's a weird day.
Yeah, kind of. I guess if you have a lot, to choose from, you can pick and choose, right? So they were, I think they were talking about like scheduling this on the actual calendar, these masterminds, because it's pretty cool. The topics are really awesome. He does a great job of really variety in the topics. So
I'm excited.
Yeah. Some of this will probably be review for you, Erica.
I worked long and hard to find my tribe.
Yes. Same. Yeah, so how did the phone call go?
He didn't call me back, so I'm going to call him today at 2.
Okay.
And I don't know what's going on with the lenders, but we'll see. I might have to get him a 3rd lender.
Oh boy. Well, let me know if you need, I have some other referrals if you need them too, so.
Yeah, definitely. We'll let you know what goes on with that.
I feel like something's maybe off. It's kind of weird. Like, I feel like I'm wondering, are we on the right? I just clicked on the number that he provided.
Cool. All right, guys, super excited for today. We have my longtime friend, Melissa Vasic, who is going to share some awesome knowledge with us. I know Melissa personally, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So, Melissa Vasic, let's talk about you for a second. I know that's an uncomfortable thing for you to do sometimes.
It is.
So, I will preface that with you. So, but I want you to be real with me. All right, let's help you through. I'll help you through. Melissa Vasic, where are you from?
I'm from Detroit. D-Town, Motor City.
8 Mile, baby.
Yeah, 8 Mile in Gratiot. Born and raised.
How did you end up in Chicago?
Well, my dad is in the steel transport business, and so basically the industry took him to Chicago, and then again on to St. Louis. And I never made that move with them to St. Louis. I just stayed here and went to college here in Chicago and called Chicago my home, made that decision at a young age that this was my soulful home and where I belonged, and, you know, raising my family here now. So.
Cool. Awesome. So you stayed in Chicago. What was your first job? You said you went to school here. Where'd you go to school?
I went to Loyola for dentistry. So I started off in the medical field. I was in dental. I was a dental hygienist for over 26 years before making the switch full time in real estate. Yeah, I know.
I remember those days.
I was
remember that
5
day.
years old. Yeah, you remember that day?
I do remember that day.
Defining moment.
Okay, and you're married, right?
Yes, married. I have one daughter graduating 8th grade tomorrow. So that's pretty exciting news in our household.
Awesome.
And, you know, I haven't had to do too much homeschooling. She's pretty self-sufficient. So I consider myself pretty lucky there.
Cool. Awesome. So Melissa, you were in the service industry in the dental field, correct? Because you were kind of like,
Yes.
right? You were talking to a lot of people, correct?
All the time, believe it or not.
All right. What tell me something that you've learned, you know, from that aspect of your life that you have implemented into your real estate business.
Well, I think the one thing, it was a study in the human condition, because you have to understand, these people were very scared when I would see them, and they would sit, you know, come to see me. And there was a lot of fear there. And I had to basically make them feel comfortable with kind of an uncomfortable situation. And so I really learned at an early age, actually, because I was only 20 when I started in that industry, how to really listen to people and read their language and just kind of mirror and match what they were exhibiting so that I could make them feel comfortable. So I would say I learned my communication skills and my mirror and matching skills from that. And also how to stay on a schedule, which has served me right now, because I would see 14 patients a day. And if I was not on a schedule, that production was not happening for the office. So that really helped me stay on schedule.
That's amazing. What I've heard you is listening, right? Scheduling, learning how to schedule. That's huge as well, right? And then kind of your communication skills, right? Like, you know, you're almost like your bedside manners, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. That's great. All right. So Melissa, I've known you for about roughly 5 years now, and I know that your mindset is important to you. You and I have been on a very, very similar journey together. And I want to touch base on that before we talk about the vibe, you know, your vibe kind of attracting your tribe. So
together.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about mindset. What is Melissa Vasic's mindset? How does Melissa Vasic keep herself positive? And you know, what advice do you have for us?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think at a young age, I really learned that it was important to look for mentors in my life and look for people that I saw in my young age that achieved success. Because remember, my beginnings were a little gritty, to be really transparent, and I knew that I didn't want to stay there. And so I often looked for mentors and people that I admired that had evidence of success. Even, you know, at a young age, I was seeking these mentors out. And so that's truly followed me along to where my journey is now. And I'd say that I really look to the leaders within our industry and within Keller Williams in particular. I look for the people that have also fallen on hard times and how they built themselves up and overcome adversity and just stayed all the things that they've embraced to make sure that that happened. So, and I also have this thing where it's really important to me that I leave the person that I've just talked to in a better place, so to speak, than when they met me. So if I can add value to them, if I can add support to them, and make them feel lifted as a result of having that interaction with me, that provides me that pours into me, believe it or not. Like that actually serves me and helps my mindset, that I know that I've made a positive impact in someone's life.
That's great. So Melissa, you said a couple of things that I want to touch on. One, your upbringing was quote unquote gritty, right? You know, like I said, Melissa, I've known you for a while and you have grit, right? And I know that that's something that's important to you, that you know, that you find. And you know, I don't know if you can teach it or not, but at the end of the day, how important was grit to you, and how important is grit in your life?
Well, time and time again, you know, I've always had this thing where I wanted to be at whatever I started, whatever path I started on, I wanted to be the best. And that path was not always smooth. There was a lot of stumbles, a lot of skin knees, so to speak, on those paths. But the one thing I learned was that giving up was really never an option. And so, okay, so if I had a stumbling block, I got up and reassessed, okay, why didn't that work? What other way can I go that could get me to the same place? But the one thing that I never let cross my mind was giving up. I definitely had a vision of success even at a young age. I apologize for the noise. I had a vision of success at a young age, and I knew that staying put where I was and maybe even allowing myself to wallow in victim, and even at a young age, I had a sense of that, like that was not going to serve me. I needed, if it was going to be, it was up to me, and I needed to pull myself up and brush myself off and just keep going, you know, so.
If it was going to be, it's up to me. And Melissa, just so you know, we can hear you fine, so don't worry about the noise.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Melissa, you also said something. You said, "Hey, when I serve people, right, that gives you a positive mindset. That gives you kind of where you want to be, right?" Is that something that is teachable, or is that something that you've learned, or where does that come from?
You know what? I think that again just came from my natural being a young lady in Catholic school, you know, so we did, you know, that coming from contribution and caring about others was always kind of ingrained in us. But I actually feel that was something that's just naturally in me. But I do feel that that can be taught, because I feel like once you show someone the way to contribution and positive thinking, that they're going to get addicted to the feeling of what that brings to them. Because right now, our society, I feel, is a little bit, their dial is a little bit dialed to the negative. Like, it's just a habit. It's honestly a habit. It's a habit of complaining is what we're in right now. Let's complain about the weather. Let's complain about COVID. Let's complain. I think that that's an acceptable way of communicating and kind of a safe space for people to communicate. And I would love to see the dial kind of go the other way, where let's get in the habits of talking about the opportunities or the positivity in a situation, so that we can move forward and out of it instead of just wallowing where we are. You know, more of an empowerment mentality than a victim mentality.
Absolutely. Well, you just said looking for the opportunity. You know, I love that word opportunity, Melissa. So thank you.
Lenny here.
All right, Melissa Vasic, do me a favor. Describe your mindset. What is Melissa Vasic's mindset?
You know, my mindset is, you know, I definitely have a big vision for myself and for my family. I also have the mindset of getting into action. I think too many times people, they get really hyped up and geeked up about the actual vision and talking about the vision, but then the follow through just isn't there. So I know that coaching and having mentors in my life that hold me accountable to actually getting into action has helped me. You know, right now I'm so far pushed outside of my comfort zone because of COVID. You know, I was so timid to get on any kind of digital media. and really embody any of the social media like Facebook, virtual open houses, and all of the things that we're having to do right now. That is so far outside of my comfort zone. And yet, I have accountability from the people around me to go out there, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get out there and start doing it. So really it's about having the vision, but then also having the wherewithal to take the action and not get paralyzed by looking good and being right all the time.
It's funny that you say that, Melissa, right? Is because all the people that said, oh, I hate how I look on camera, or I hate how I sound or whatever. Too bad. You've been forced into it now, right?
Yeah, we're forced into it. And I love it. I've watched so much growth in the last 2 months. I mean, people that have been on the fence about it or hated social media, now they have Facebook business pages. They're doing virtual open houses. They're killing it in Facebook paid ads. That growth has been so phenomenal. And I think that, like I said, I think we've been pushed 5 years into the future. It may have taken them 4 to 5 years to get to that comfort level, but now so that to me is a positive of this whole situation.
Yeah. I mean, some of us has watched my growth on my facial hair throughout the last couple of months.
Stop it.
Sarah can't wait for me to shave this, by the way, Melissa. So
I know, I'm not used to seeing that.
It's coming.
What he said.
All right, Melissa, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the topic, right?
Yeah, it is.
What is Melissa? Before you dive into it, what's the strategy behind that? Why is that important?
You know what? I found that in order to be truly who you are, authentic, not be an imposter and kind of an imitator of someone else, I think you have to give yourself permission to really get into alignment with who you are and accept that is absolutely a wonderful place to be. I think a lot of times people judge themselves based on things that they may see on social media, or they're internally judging themselves. And I think just giving yourself permission to know that who you are without judgment is something special. And then to take that and use and be authentic with who you are into your business. Because I've noticed that when people are really in alignment with who they really are, that the business attracts them because they're authentic. Mm-hmm. And so clients and the people that you're attracting in the business you're attracting is because you're in your alignment. So it all starts, I think, with really taking a moment to, in a crisis like this, you do have, nothing's automatic anymore, right? We're all kind of re-examining our lives and things like that.
Right.
So, just taking a moment to really dial back down to your core values, what makes you really you, what makes you authentically you, but then also having awareness around what's taking you away from yourself too, things that aren't serving you. And so once you get to that place where you've identified the things that you can control, what can I remove from my life that isn't serving me right now? And then you're adding in the things that really bring you joy and make you feel most like you, your energy level, whether you're aware of it or not, your energy exudes before you even open your mouth. And you're going to be that much more attractive to other people. They want to be in that space with you. So
got it. How, Melissa, how hard is that to do? Remove things from, when you say these things hey, do what you want, be authentic, right? But remove the things that don't make you authentic from your life. How hard is that?
Well, it is. It's hard because when you're really running around and you're running the gauntlet, so to speak, and you're really super busy in your business and you don't have a moment to even make a meal for yourself, are you really going to take the time to examine your alignment? No, probably not. So this is where, we suggest, even with the clients that I coach, I do suggest that they schedule some time for this very thing in their time block, is to kind of assess their alignment. But Joe, you're not going to always be able to remove the things that are bringing you away from yourself, or you're not going to be able to remove everything. But I guarantee if you had a list of 10 things that draw you down and make you not you, out of that list of 10, you could remove at least 4 of them. There's probably 4 to 5 that are within your control.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have to make up your mind that the rest, the things that are not in your control, do not give it attention.
Mm-hmm.
Do not give it attention. It's that time in your mind space is better served focusing on the things that you can control. Like, what am I reading? What am I putting into my brain? Who am I surrounding myself with?
Right.
Those are the things that you can control. So it's
Melissa,
hard.
so I'm hearing, you and I have had conversations like this before, but if I'm sitting on this call and I'm hearing for this for the first time, is it daily? Is it hourly? Is it weekly? Like when you say, hey, remove this stuff and sit down and come up with a list.
Yeah.
How consistent do we have to be with it, in your opinion?
Yeah. I feel like that's where journaling, the power of journaling comes in, because sometimes you're not really even aware of all the small little things that might be chipping away at you. And when you're journaling and you're really kind of documenting what's actually happening, I would even say do it for a week. I think that you're going to bring great clarity to yourself if you created a time block schedule of like your perfect week. And then you have that schedule as your template. And then you kept a journal of all the things that got in your way that week, or prevented you from moving toward that goal or being who you are. Then that's where the awareness comes in. So, we have a lot on our plates right now. So for you to do a daily assessment is probably not realistic. And yet taking the time, at the end of this month, take the time to create out, like, what would the perfect month even in Joe Zimmerman's life look like in June? What does that look like? And be very intentional about that. And then as an experiment, keep a journal even for 1 week to see what got in your way of accomplishing that perfect month or perfect week. I know you like to say the perfect stuff. So I'm here to help you have the perfect week in your real estate life. So
there it is.
Yeah, there it is. And so even if you dialed it down, even if you did it on just for 1 day, you would have so much clarity of all the things, big and small, that take you away from your goal or even take you away from who you are. And that's very powerful. And once you're aware, once you know something, you can't unknow it.
Right.
And then it's just a matter of how do I work on removing the things that bring me down and then replacing that with the things that pour into my bucket or lift my energy.
Okay.
And it's like an energy exchange.
Cool. Just for everyone that's on this call to know, you cannot remove me from your life. So that's
a fact.
Shoes, no removing me from your life. Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to. So, all right. Hey, Melissa, do I have your permission to get kind of personal with you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Your vibe, your tribe.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that journey. How is it happening in your life?
Yeah. I think it starts honestly with the way that I've been showing up. If I'm showing up in integrity, if I'm showing up as a hard worker, if I have an energy of coming from contribution, that's who's naturally attracted to me. There's no way that I could be in business with the caliber of the people that I'm in business with right now if I myself were not of that caliber. They wouldn't even consider being in business with me. And so I feel very fortunate, honestly, right from the beginning, you believed in me and you empowered me to see myself as a different person than just a dental hygienist. And then, basically I've had the pleasure of coaching with Gene Rivers. I've had the pleasure of, coaching under Mark King and some really top leaders in this company. And they all helped me believe that anything is really possible if you work hard for it. And these leaders are no nonsense leaders. Mm-hmm. And the thing is do you want it? Do you have grit? And are you ready to take the action?
That's right. Yeah,
Do it.
that's right. It seems so simple, right? When you hear it say, but obviously it's not. But at the end of the day, what we've learned and what you and I have talked about is these people have been at it. They've been at it for a while, and they believe that time on task over time, right, will get the results, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So
For
Melissa,
sure.
you congratulations, you built this productivity program up to 30 agents, right?
Yes, 30.
30?
Yes.
30
Yeah.
agents. All right. So let's talk about that. So first and foremost, congratulations. I know you got a nice little tribe there that's following
I
you,
do.
right?
I
So,
love them. Yeah.
but second,
They're probably on this call right now, although I don't see them because it's just you and I.
it's just you and I. You and I.
It's just you and I.
What do you teach them? What do you tell them about their strategy and or like what systems they need to be talking about? So let's start with strategy first. I'm in productivity program. I'm new, and I'm like, hey, Melissa, I need to get to here. What is the strategy that you're implementing with me?
I think that, honestly, even if they're not new, because I do have agents that are in my program that are seasoned agents. So whether you're new or have been seasoned, even look at me, I was in the business for 13 years before I came to KW, right? And so the first step really is switching their mindset from being an employee, because many times people are coming from other industries and they definitely have this employee mindset, like I work for somebody. And then helping them switch that mindset to now you're the business owner. Switching them from an employee mindset to a business owner's mindset. And all of the that's an incredible switch, because there's agents in this town right now that are top agents, but they always work for somebody. I work for this person. They don't even see themselves as a business owner, And so it's really not unique to whether they're new or seasoned. It's just the human condition, like really feeling empowered that I am a business owner. And now as a business owner, I need to adopt systems. I need to adopt systems. I need to hold myself accountable, or within our tribe, our coaching tribe, it's like a giant team, basically, is what we created, that we lean on each other. We hold each other accountable. We've been lead generating together on Zoom. And so it's a team. Yeah, it's a team basically, but it's like, I'm a business owner and I'm going to do activities as if I'm my own employee. And so therefore I show up on a schedule, because a lot of times, if you just float around kind of, off schedule, or just kind of doing, I have my own time to myself, and you have nothing planned, then that's exactly what comes your way, nothing. So, right. But it is definitely helping them understand and feel empowered that they're business owners, much the same that you did with me. You helped me see a different way. Like, I'm not a dental hygienist. I'm not working for someone. And even, you would correct me and say you work with me, not for me, when I was on your team. So that really helped.
Thanks, Melissa. So, okay. So perception, right? So, okay. Now before I go to perception, why is that? So you came from, hey, what fuels me is helping, right? Now you're in a productivity program, or you're coaching a productivity, and you have 30 people following you. You have 30 people in your tribe, right? So you told me that fuels you, right? But yes. What do you think is the perception of that, right? And what's the true meaning of it? Like, why do you do it, right? Like I always say, start with the why, right? You and I've had a lot of conversations with this. Why do you coach these people, right? And then what do you think the perceived perception of it is?
Well, kind of going back to when we first started, I think I had this passion for coaching because I saw what following our model, and there may be people on here that aren't with Keller Williams, but the model is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. That's the recipe, that's the model. And so when I saw the impact of me floundering around for 13 years, spinning my wheels, and I knew that I was a hard worker, that I was smart, that I was a people person, but something just wasn't quite taking off for me. And in just such a short time, by simply following this model, I was able to go within 4 years on the trajectory that I did. And it was simply, I just made up my mind to follow that recipe for success. And so I wanted to share this with other people because I see a lot of scarcity. I see a lot of fear. And this was something that helped me feel comfortable enough to leave a comfort zone of 26 years and go into something, an industry that's perceived as a roller coaster ride. And so it was this model, and I wanted to share that so I could alleviate some of the scarcity and the fear. And I thought, who better than for me to be to share my story with them as an example, because it's do as I do, right? It's not do as I say. And so that's why I'm out there lead generating. I lead generate with my team as well. I'm actually we're creating Facebook ads together. I'm giving the leads out, and we're practicing, and a culture of abundance. Like we're a team. We're definitely a team. They're my tribe.
You're not telling them to do anything that you haven't done or won't do. That's important,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Got it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm walking into your productivity program. What I know you teach the systems, right? What's the first system that you're going to teach me to perfect?
Well, first it starts off, Keller has systems for everything. So I do take a look at the person individually, and that is through our Keller personality assessment. So I do take a look at their communication style, their operational style. And then when we sit down to build their business plan, I basically want them to focus on just 3 aspects of building their business, and not, I think the common thing that I see is that people grow a little bit impatient. And so what they want to do is they do a little bit of this over here, and then they see somebody else had success over there by doing this. And so they don't really focus any amount of time on one thing long enough to get it going. And so therefore that's how you're burnt out and exhausted after your first year, because you feel like you're just working so hard and nothing's happening. And so I really help build their business plan, of course, with their sphere of influence, helping them build their database. But then I actually help them go off onto the other 2 levers based on their response. I mean, some people love being on the phone, but they hate seeing people in person, right? So that person I might have them work on calling, just strictly calling people. Some people kill it in person, like open house and actual events. So I'm going to push them to focus their attention on things that are working. Instead of shoring up their weaknesses, I have them focus on the stuff that they'd probably be really good at. So, and then they feel empowered and they're excited. Yeah.
Melissa, you said the 2 words that I love, and we all know that are so powerful. You said business plan, right? Yes. So many of us, right, and myself included, started in this business without a plan, right? Right. And we just went at it and said, I'm going to show some houses and drive a nice car, work whenever I want, and make a ton of money, right? That was the plan, right? Yeah. Pretty far from the truth, right?
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So you have talked about, hey, I'm going to build a plan around things that you want to do, or that you're good at, that you're doing. What exercises do they have to go through? Do they just tell you that, or do you make them do it and then they say, I can do this? Or is it their track record? What is it?
Well, sometimes it is a little bit of a self-discovery. I mean, you'd be surprised how accurate those assessments are. It's eerily accurate. People are like, whoa, this is weird. So I know that if I'm using that as the guide, chances are they will succeed in the particular role or the business plan. But some of it is self-discovery. I mean, there are people that were very timidly afraid of social media that are now loving it. And so that was not a part of their business plan, maybe at the beginning of January, but now we've shifted. We're actually taking things in 90-day increments, to be honest with you. I know that that's something that we're like doing the kind of like a 90-day sprint, like, okay, let's focus on what we're going to do for the next 90 days. I don't know about you, but I feel like every month feels like a 90 days anyway. So I feel like, focusing on the next 90 days sounds very reasonable and helps them kind of stay in focus. And so you do need to give any one lead generation tactic some time to see if it's really going to pan out for you. And then we definitely track our return on investment, both time and money. And yet, I do expose, I do teach all of the students, all the different levers of lead generation, but I really encourage them to focus on the ones that they are naturally going to be very good at, so that they feel, nothing feels worse than you beating yourself up day after day and telling yourself this story that, I'm no good at this. I'm no good at this. I mean, and then that's, then the results don't come, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'd rather have you enjoying what you're doing, staying in high energy, being true to yourself. So that's going back to that alignment with the assessment. And then the results come.
Yeah. And I would imagine, Melissa, that's your tribe is very important in this, right? Because if you're telling yourself I'm no good at this, or I don't want, and you don't have that support system, the tribe, like your little tribe at, just your first little tribe being your productivity coaching program, and then obviously your market center, and then Keller Williams as a whole, right? But at the end of the day, I would imagine it's pretty important to be in alignment with the people around you.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm helping others, that oxygen mask analogy, right? I have to put my mask on first. And so if I'm led with the responsibility to pour into these other people, who's pouring into me? Who am I going to pour into me? And who's like stretching my level of thinking and perspective so that I can then serve them, And so, I'm a big John Maxwell follower. Like I said, I pretty much anything Mark King says about finance, I'm there. I want to thank you for doing these week daily. I mean, that's no easy feat. You've been coming up with value every day, diversity in topics, and I really want to thank you for emerging as like a kind of a lighthouse in the storm during this time too. So,
Appreciate that, Melissa.
yeah, you've been a big part of it. James Shaw's morning pivot, bold pivot, shift pivot has been, and then, I've also, going to, it does not always have to be about business in order for you to be fortified. It could be about, your personal wellness, support groups, especially parents right now that are full-time chefs and teachers, you need your support.
Right.
Essentially, we're all leaders right now in this time. We're all leaders. People are looking to us for guidance.
Right.
And, you do need to find those support systems to pour into you so that you can then make an impact on them.
That's awesome. That's good. That's great advice, Melissa. And thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it. I enjoy hanging out with all you, rug rats. So it's great. So, hey, Melissa, talk to me about, let's go back to your productivity program here for a second. Talk to me about tools. Okay. So we have some systems that you've talked about, you're coaching your people. What tools are you seeing as a necessity to use for them?
So right now, as far as helping them take their business plan from a large scale and just kind of dial it down to, we just did this exercise on Friday or Thursday rather, where we dialed down to what do I have to do exactly right now between 10 and 11? How many people do I have to contact between 10 and 11 in order to hit my goal? And so we took we use what's called a 1-3-5 in Keller Williams. So it's like, what's your one goal? If your goal is, and we always say, we love to share our goals out loud because that when you say that number out loud, it really affirms, So if you're constantly sharing with people that your goal is to help 25 families or investors this year, it's like reaffirming, it's like programming yourself that yes, you start believing it yourself when you say it out loud. So we incorporate that into our lead generation. And then what are the three? So that's 25 families in 1 year, and 3 levers or pieces of the business plan that are going to help us get to the 25. And then we take it down every month. Okay, this month I have to close 2 units 2 sales, and how many consultations must I book in order to hit those 2 sales? How many phone calls and conversations is it going to take for me to hit those 4 consultations? And each person has their prescription dialed down to a day per hour. How many conversations do I have to have?
It's a beautiful math problem, isn't it, Melissa?
Yeah, it's simple, not easy.
Yeah, we're just living in a math problem. That's it. So you want this result, do these activities. Melissa, let's switch gears here. First, second, just to accountability. All right.
Yes.
How important is accountability first? We'll go there first. And then how are you holding your people accountable? And is it per person? Is it different per person? Are you switching it up, or is it across the board?
Well, what I found is I really wanted to model in this program what it was like to be on a team, because I feel like I'm looking ahead at what would my clients' next steps be. So they're either going to be on a team or possibly start their own team down the road, right? So I'm teaching them how to set up their systems right now so that no matter what path, when they graduate and they fly away from the program, that they're ready and prepared, and it's not going to be a shocker. That accountability is built in, and it's just going to be like breathing. Like I get up, I report, I lead gen, I report my numbers. And so basically, we are keeping track of how many conversations we have, how many contacts that we add into our database, how many consultations booked, what was the result. And I do keep track of everybody's conversion rates as well, because it helps me understand on an individual scale what kind of conversations we have to help them move forward. So, but
you're putting these together for them?
Yeah, they're reporting it out, and we have a grand spreadsheet that everybody can see. So that visibility is there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we report out our numbers every week, and we have a discussion around it.
I got to get in that program.
Yeah. Well, the visibility, I think for everyone to see each other's numbers is really important, because people are learning, like just today I had someone share with me them off of a Facebook lead. It did take them 7 tries to finally connect with the person, and then the person agreed to have a buyer's appointment with them. So I want everyone to share their experiences, because it just, people are calling these leads maybe 2 or 3 times and giving up. And when I said, I shared with them that the stat is, 7 to 12 contacts before you can actually connect. And then the proof showed up. So the numbers don't lie. The proof showed up today. And I wanted that sharing of the story to help remove any kind of limiting belief, like, oh, she's just lucky. She just has a charisma and a personality. It's just literally doing the numbers and taking the emotion and the judgment out of it. It's like literally just do the numbers, right? So
just do the activities. Do the activities. Like Mo Anderson used to say, like she said, remember she said that when people used to come into her office to complain, she would say, before you start talking, did you lead generate today?
Yeah.
Right.
I have to draw my inspiration from Mo, because I'm such a love bug, but I realized, I've had some, I've learned some things on my own personal team. I just kind of loved them too much, and you can love somebody into being broke. Yeah. And then they're not going to love you too much when they quit the team and they're broke, right? So it's like, I always try to embrace the care and candor approach. Mm-hmm. Praise them in public and have the candor conversations in private. Yeah. Always a good approach. But ultimately they're going to, the candor has to be there and the accountability has to be there, because at the end of the day, they're going to be much happier making money and feeling good about themselves than you telling them everything's going to be okay. You don't have to do the activities, no problem,
Absolutely. So Melissa, if I'm on a team, obviously I have a team leader, typically holding me accountable. If I am in your productivity program, I have you holding me accountable. What if I'm a solo agent and where do I start if I need somebody to hold me accountable?
You know what? I would actually welcome you to reach out to, other people in your peer group. You may want to look for other individuals that you see that are showing up in the way that maybe you want to show up. Maybe look for individuals that their production level is possibly in the next tier from where you are. So if you're at 1 to 5 million, maybe look to see if that $5 to $10 million producer that you can mastermind with them and reach out. I would suggest becoming part of a book club. Becoming part of book clubs, and then seek out that accountability and role play partner within your office. And like I said, it's always going to help you to kind of seek out the people that are a little bit, they're like maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of where you'd like to be, because you start emulating their actions, and then guess what? You're going to be just like them.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
But make sure it's not all take. You have to make a commitment that you're going to bring something to the table as well.
All right. So your vibe attracts your tribe, Melissa. Yeah. Right? What advice? Okay. Yeah. Are you going to give this group, and what advice are you going to give everyone that's going to listen to it on the YouTube channel?
I think first and foremost is to find your support system that's going to help pour into you, and just stay the course. Nothing's going to be perfect, and yet if you stay connected, you'll have a support system that won't allow you to get into that negativity for too long. Have that accountability partner that's going to really hold you to task, to getting into action on all those brilliant ideas that you guys talk. Let's do it. Like give it a deadline, give it a time frame, put a date on it. Put a date on it and give it a time frame and get into action. Most important, I would say, stay very empathetic during this time. People extend grace as often as possible to others and even yourself. Allow yourself some grace. There's a lot of people that are like everyday heroes right now that are so inspiring to me, and that's been so awesome to watch on social media. And just know that our industry is essential, and it's essential that you show up as a leader and as a guide in this time.
And as a business owner too, right, Melissa?
As a business owner, yes.
You are a business owner.
Yes.
Man, hey guys, everyone, go down to that reaction button real quick and give Our Lady a nice little round of applause.
Thank you.
Great job, Melissa. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being in my tribe, and
Yes.
and vice versa. We are. It's really cool having you on here today. So thanks so much, Melissa, for spending the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Hey guys, if anyone wants to get a hold of Melissa, where do we find you, Melissa?
You can email productivitycoach@kwclv.com.
Productivitycoach@kwclv.com.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. You guys reach out to Melissa. I know she comes from a place of contribution. She'd be happy to help you out any way that she can. We are ongoing tomorrow. I know for those of you guys, I know a lot of you guys know this woman, Beth Repta, is going to be joining us in the house tomorrow. All right. Really looking forward to that. Beth Repta has cut a bunch of expenses, and she's going to walk us through what expenses to cut and what ones you should keep your eye on. So for your business, it'd be really good for you to tune in tomorrow. Appreciate you, Melissa. Thanks for all you guys for joining. Be safe. Bye. Stay safe. Get some deals done. Talk to you guys later.